Welcome everyone to the wrap up. Today is October 31st, 2024. Happy Halloween for those of you who are celebrating. Before we dive into today's topics, take a moment to click that repost button and follow us here on X if you haven't already. It helps a ton and ensures that you don't miss any of our upcoming content.
And remember, what you hear in this podcast is literally just our opinion and not professional financial advice. We're not experts. If you need specific advice, please ask someone who's a professional in that area. Listen at your own risk and always double check before making decisions based upon what we talk about.
Absolutely. Eth, how are you today? I see you got a new poster back there.
Oh, I'm just doing fanciful. And I've got Katie Clark to, hold me to account.
Katie Clark with the finger up. That's great stuff. I'm sure she would appreciate what we're going to get into today, which we're starting our day off with a little bit of an update, and that meaning a update on the Universal Profile mobile app. So the Universal Profile X account this week put out an update on that Universal Profile mobile app. This is likely the first of many updates this account will put up about this mobile app as they begin to roll out the first couple phases. They state that this initial release is the alpha phase, which will be the first of three phases. Three phases, they'll likely come after each other once proper feedback is given from the people who are participating in the rounds and the needed adjustments are made. We'll likely see more and more rounds as until we reach a point where this thing is fully public and downloadable by anyone. This alpha phase will be gated, this initial phase, meaning unless you have already been contacted by the team, you'll have to download the app and add your email to the waitlist in hopes of being let in for the next round. If you have been contacted by the team, you're in the alpha round, you'll be contacted through email with a code login once the app goes live. They also state that during this first release, you'll be able to create a new app. Team recommends, though, that you do create a new app because this is the best approach at the outset as the app is in its early stages. That being said, you are able to import an existing app, but make sure that you have access to it in your browser extension or have your recovery set up so that if something were to happen to the mobile app and you were to gain or lose access, that it wouldn't be the end of that account for you. You'll also be able to perform most of the actions that you can in your up browser extension. And the ultimate goal of this round is to provide high quality feedback. They're planning to open a private chat in their Discord for all the alpha phase participants to provide inputs. So for those of you who are going to be testing in this initial round, make sure that you head over to that channel once it's open and give them all the feedback in the world that you can. Ultimately, the more feedback they get, the better they can make the app and the faster it can reach these next phases. Faster it reaches the next phases, the faster it gets out to the public, and the faster we can get, hopefully, a ridiculous amount of downloads on this thing. Lastly, they tell us to stay tuned for more information coming early next week, which could mean that we might see this first phase of the mobile app very soon. I don't mean to trigger anyone with that soon word, but hopefully. Next section that we got here on the wrap up is the new co-head of marketing that the LUKSO Foundation just hired, Alan Duran. For a bit of background on Alan, Alan is the current CMO of Ready to Fight, which is a blockchain project focused on boxing. He has also held senior level marketing and partnership positions at OKX, BitGet, and Crypto.com, which are some of the largest exchanges in the world. These were all, again, senior level positions. Crypto.com, he was there for a good bit of time, but where he spent the most of his time was at Puma. He was there for about 10 years, held multiple positions, kind of got in at entry level and began working up until he made it up to the position of senior partnership manager. So Alan here clearly has a whole bunch of background and experience that he's going to bring to the broader LUKSO marketing team. And I look forward to seeing the impact he can make. I'm sure all of you do as well, as this is something we've been clamoring for in this community for quite some time now. I actually had the chance to sit down and chat with him for a bit last week. And in doing so, brought up the fact that we would love to do an interview with him, as I saw some people in the community requesting, similar to the one we did with the VP of Marketing, Natalie Marsan. That was maybe a couple months ago now. So we'll try to sit down with him and get an interview done, but we will release more info on that later. No timelines or anything as of right now, but fingers crossed we can get it out quickly. Now I'm going to throw it over to the Ethylorian there. Ethan.
Yeah, thanks, Sage. I appreciate that. Looking forward to seeing what Alan does. Looking forward to seeing what the foundation has to do here. Sorry, I'm looking a little out of place. I had Solidity Bootcamp this morning and kind of kicked my ass. So I'm looking forward, to seeing kind of what comes of this time period that is elapsing, quote unquote, soon, because we're all waiting for it. And it feels like a lot of really cool updates are right there and on the horizon for us. So I consulted with Katie Clark before my section today, the winner of women's basketball, about what I wanted to talk about. And I wanted to talk about how we can win really as a community going forward, because so much of the stress is put on, like in this past segment, Sage saying, the foundation has hired somebody new. And you might have seen my posts or call to actions recently from my Twitter account, basically saying, hey, innovators, change makers, people who are trying to get involved out there. I won't read this whole tweet. It was really just a call to action to the LUKSO Builders Association, the LBA, which is really kind of organically forming. And I say organic because no one's incentivized to do it. No one's being paid to do it at the moment. But it is the energy upon which Keys was founded on, the LUKSOverse was founded on, a lot of the very early community coming together. Now, if you don't see me out there, I haven't been bull posting LUKSO very much, because there's plenty of people to say, hey, LUKSO's going to the moon. And we can leave this slide right here for a bit, Rob, because I'm just going to ad lib. There's plenty of people out there to say LUKSO's going to the moon, or you'll regret not buying this dip, or the bears are going to be screwed when this turns around. Like all that, if that's what you're doing, then great. I really appreciate you. Keep doing it. I just can't do it myself anymore. And if you check out my Twitter account, I've gone under the Ethylorian for a long time, but I've actually added my name Craig to it because I feel like I needed to humanize this call to action a little bit for the LUKSO BA. This tweet that I have up here, this is really, again, this is the LUKSO Builders Association account. It's LUKSO BA. You can hit it on Twitter right now. You can follow it. There's 248 followers, and you might even see your name and if you're, Metador or Build Up. But this is an organization that I think the entire community can be proud of, and the entire community could probably find some spot to contribute to. This is meant to be really egoless. Whatever you can bring to the table, whatever energy you can bring to the table, the LUKSO BA is going to hopefully create a spot where you can come in there and contribute your talents and be rewarded either through community standing or really probably ideally through micro grants that we'll be able to offer. And maybe you could even get a micro grant for running the LUKSO Builders Association Twitter and bringing more and more attention to the account. There's going to be lots of opportunities to contribute. If you're interested right now, really go check out our public notes. We're doing all of this with radical transparency, meaning we're planning in public. You can read every conversation that we're having, at least the abridged version. I'd like to get to the point where we are actually videotaping these conversations so people can come back and consume them on their own time. We haven't got there yet because the group, as we're meeting right now, just has felt that while we're trying to get our feet underneath us, maybe it's not the best to just dox every member. There's a little bit of resistance around that, but there is no resistance from the group as far as the will to be transparent. So you can read who is at these meetings. You can see our thoughts. You can see what we're planning. So Rob, if you throw up the next slide that just has the GitHub repository, if you go to the GitHub repository, which is linked on the Twitter account, or you hit me up in DMs, I'll give it to you. This is the LUKSO Builders Association. There's 2 repos inside of this GitHub project. The first repository is just a simple Git page that stands in for the website that we're going to build. The other repository is for the public collaboration. And inside the public collaboration, we have all of our meeting notes. We have 2 activations that we're looking at. One, we're planning an event, a hacker house in East Denver, and we're planning that publicly. So you can see exactly what we're looking at. You can see the kind of budgets that we're looking at. You can see what we're thinking. The other one is we're looking to do some type of activation, hopefully in Berlin later on in 2025. Now, that is just an idea at the moment, and it's going to require a lot of work to get done. But there are some great people that are starting to think about it and coalesce around this idea, bring their energy to it. So it's something's actually happening here. It's just a matter of, are you interested in getting involved? The last thing I really want to do is I just want to read you kind of what this LBA is about from the README file inside of this GitHub repository. And I call it a public coordination repository when I put this together, because that's what we're looking to do, is publicly coordinate. And it says, welcome to the collaborative hub for the LUKSO Builders Association. This repository serves as a central location for notes, meeting records, and public coordination of all our efforts and initiatives. The LUKSO Builders Association is a voluntary collective of core community members united by the shared belief that the strength of a decentralized ecosystem lies in its participants. These participants span a wide spectrum from basic token holders to app builders to protocol core developers. We firmly believe that collaborative efforts can achieve outcomes that would be impossible through disconnected individual endeavors alone. In the spirit of fostering an open and inclusive community, we host public LBA meetings. The agendas, meeting notes, and recordings from these gatherings are posted in the repository. By embracing radical transparency, we aim to broaden the scope of our conversations, encourage diverse perspectives and inputs, maintain accountability to our community, and facilitate easier onboarding for new participants. And it says, we invite you to explore this repository, engage with content, join us in shaping the future of the LUKSO ecosystem. There's actually also the issues tab at the top, the discussions tab that exists inside of the public collab, where you can participate in a public forum. If you want to get invited to the Telegram chat, then hit me up with a DM and I will add you. What we're looking for here is to support the ongoing community initiatives that are being worked on and will be rolled out by Fawn, our community manager from Fancy, and Jordy Dutch, the technical community manager from Fancy. What we're trying to provide is a third leg upon which the organization can stand. That third leg is really the community. Jordy and Fawn are our leaders, and we need to coalesce around some organization that supports their efforts. One thing that I know, people say all the time, let me rephrase, that the LUKSO community is a very strong community, and we're strong around these mimetic ideas of Fabian being a great developer and a gigabrain, the mimetic idea of old standards are not as good as new standards. But what we need to really come together around is this idea that doing is more powerful than saying. And if you have that feeling, if what I just said resonates with you at all, if you got a little bit of tickle on the back of your neck, this is the organization for you. So the call to action for you is, please, if you're interested, hit me up in the DM. For the people that have, I respond as soon as possible. There are ways for you to get involved right now. And if you're like, I need a job, that's the only way I can get involved, we can't pay you at the moment. If you're like, I need someone to tell you exactly what to do, that might be a little tricky too, because it's an organization that's going to move very fluidly at its early stages in the direction of the energy of the people who are putting it in. But we have some things that we're working on, and we just definitely need more hands. So that's my call to action. Get involved, hit me in the DMs. I'd really appreciate it. And on behalf of the LBA, keep doing your work out there, whatever you're doing in the community.
Amen there, Eth. That's great. I know I'm part of the LBA, and the meetings have been fun. We've been having a lot of them so far. And again, they're available in that GitHub. It's been really cool to see a lot of people in the community who I haven't engaged with feel like they want to engage with this, and starting to feel a sense of ownership behind it, because there is all this possibility behind, as much as nobody's going to tell you immediately what to do, right? There opens up that door of you being able to do things that you see fit, right? So people starting to take, feeling like they have a sense of ownership over these things and participation. It's great to see bringing back.
Yeah, it's how we're going to win. I told you.
Just like Kaylin. The last section I got here is about the DENKUN HardFork upcoming on LUKSO mainnet. DENKUN HardFork is coming to LUKSO. For those of you who don't know, a hard fork is basically a software update for the blockchain. This one in particular brings a whole bunch of upgrades, mainly around speed and scalability. I won't go into the details because Jordy Dutch went into the details on a great Twitter thread that we'll have linked again in these show notes. That thread has everything that you need to know about the DENKUN update, about if you're a validator, what do you need to do, just like any general information on when it is, what you have to do, all that. Again, we'll link it here, but if you're running a validator, make sure you check out this thread so you have all the resources that you need to have your node updated for November 20th, 2024 at 4:20 p.m. UTC. If we don't get a majority of these nodes all updated, it will not be great for the network. So make sure to do your part there. And again, we'll link that thread in the show notes here so you can go find it.
Yeah, let me add to that, Sage, real quick.
Yeah.
I did it myself. It's very easy to do. LUKSO's done a great job with the command line interface to get it done. It's just something that you have to pay attention to. It's your duty as a validator. If you're out there in the community and you have a universal profile, maybe you've collected a few NFTs and you're wondering how this is going to impact you, it won't impact you at all unless people like myself don't do their job. Jordy put out a great video. Watch the video. He walks you through the steps. I actually missed something and Jordy immediately laughed at me. He's like, hey, just watch the video, dude. And it's not something, if you're not constantly interacting with your node and your validators, it might feel a little uncomfortable, but that's why these people are out there. That's why Jordy and Matt and Mustafa were in the Twitter space and they're available for help. Get on it today. Don't wait till the last minute. If you run into an issue, make sure you have technical support available. That's what I'll say.
Absolutely, and Jordy is always available to give that technical support there. And like Eth said, you got videos that Jordy made. He put out an article as well. They had a Spaces the other night. This thread has quite literally any resource around it. It has all of those resources linked together. So you got no excuses as to why you might have not gotten this done. So as he says, get on it early so you're not having to do it last minute, and make sure you're doing your part. For the last section on this show, we have our friend Alts Anonymous.
What up, fam? Just figured I'd come out for a little walk and touch some grass and get away from the technology so we could talk about AI. But actually, I'm using technology to record this and using technology to show you guys, and you're using technology to watch it. So yeah, I mean, maybe that's not the greatest plan, but nonetheless, wanted to chat about AI because my mind's kind of wondering, where is this all going to go? Elon Musk thinks we're going to have AGI, artificial general intelligence, next year even. That's coming pretty fast, and I don't think really anyone or any entity is ready for that. So it's important to start asking some of these questions. I mean, there's a lot of companies that are working towards that, like DeepMind, IBM, Google, Amazon, Microsoft, etc. And honestly, it might be like a zero-sum game where it's like the event horizon of a technological movement. Once that first company kind of gets past that barrier, the sound barrier of AI, as it were, it might be no going back. Once AI, whether you say sentient or not, could just be in terms of the ability for it to teach itself. Because up to this point, what has AI done? It's been able to comb the internet, for stuff that humans have given it. It's been able to use prompts for things that humans have given it, So it's definitely better at processing information than we are. A whole lot faster, Maybe not faster or better than, 8 billion humans doing it, but it's getting there. It's getting there real fast. And so I want to think about, in terms of how can AI find new ways to gain information and kind of what that might look like. And that's where I was trying to think about, Gronk. I think Gronk actually might have a leg up on this whole process because, it has the large language model, tenets of being able to use prompts and pull from the internet stuff, but it's also got that social element, right? That's one thing the other ones don't have. Amazon, sure, they're pulling data, from shopping tendencies and whatnot, and that's valuable in a lot of ways, but it's not social. Yeah, I think social is really the big element here, because you've got Twitter, X, and it's plugged into that, and that's real time data that's kind of unparalleled. We're getting away from legacy media anyways, but then on top of that, you got Teslas all over the world driving around with cameras, recording things, geolocation stuff, probably capturing audio too. That's pretty valuable information. And then you're going to have Optimus, the human style robots. Originally we thought robots would be all these different shapes and sizes, but really in the end it makes sense for them to be like humans because everything's built for humans. So it's a lot easier for them to navigate our world. But I don't know if you've seen some of the recent examples of the fleet. They had a fleet out there, kind of throwing a party, walking the streets, serving drinks and stuff. So I mean, yeah, it's come along fast, and I mean, he thinks it's going to be the biggest product ever across the world. So I mean, imagine those in everyone's home and having conversations with them, and you're sitting at a bar, chatting up with an Optimus bot, and it's just logging all your emotions into the database, and it's like, and this is, especially if it's AGI, and it can, it's just going to unlock a whole new world. So, if I had to kind of bet on who might get there first, I don't know. I feel like that social component is going to be extremely valuable because it's just that intimate data that you can't really glean otherwise just from pulling stuff from the internet or prompts, And who knows, maybe like you have that her type scenario where another AI is just like relationship bots and that does it. It's going to be a lot of different things, but I think, once again, that's social, So I just think it's really important to start asking some of these questions because, it's important to think about how might this merge with, on-chain stuff and blockchain and how, identity and other things like that might come into play and how we can combat the issues. But then also, sorry, big old vehicle just drove by. But how we can combat some of these issues and how we can help. Will humans just continue to merge? That's kind of the next evolution in our merging with technology. We've been having these cell phones, in our hands since, almost 20 years now, everyone. So we're just going to continue to merge further with technology, whether it's, implants in our brains, like Neuralink or smartwatches. Probably, I mean, I honestly think, too, the AR glasses, XR, whatever, those glasses are going to be what everybody ends up wearing because it's just so easy and it can do everything your phone can do, but it's visual, audio as well, but it's going to be a whole nother level. So I'd bet my money on that. But anyways, I think it's really interesting to start thinking about some of these things and kind of get out ahead of it because it can go one of two ways, fam. It can, AI, we'll say AGI, it could help solve a lot of the problems because humans, I mean, let's be honest, the path we're headed down, it's kind of like the Mousetopia thing where it's like once you kind of reach a certain level of comfort in life, it just falls apart because, that those biological tendencies just evaporate and you're just down to choice and humans make bad choices. So, will AI be able to help us, solve things like inflation, the economy, our population collapse that's happening, world wars, things like this, or, will it be the big hero we've been waiting for and show us the way to become that next tier of civilization, or, will it be this dystopian sort of downfall that our imaginations, I mean, you've seen the movies, right? You know how it goes. So it could be somewhere in between too. But yeah, these are just some of the conversations I'd like to start having. So if you guys have any thoughts, hit me up and we can chat. Maybe we can start some spaces on some of this. But I think it's really good to start thinking about.
Thanks, Alt. Like you being outside, it's an interesting mashup there. Eth, any thoughts off the bat?
Yeah, the video cut at the end. I hope he's okay.
Yeah, right.
It's like that was my first thought. Yeah, I don't know. AI is a huge topic, and it's disrupting elements of our life constantly right now. Maybe if you're a Luddite, right, like you don't touch any technology, you don't even realize like how pervasive AI is. But it's everywhere, and it's funny how much you come to rely on it, and then you reach the end of what it can actually do for you, the limits of what it might be trained on, and then you get really frustrated. I had a question this morning, and I think also alluded to it. Like AI is going to be good if it's been trained on information that already has the answers, but if you have a situation where the answer is not there and it has to be creative, it hallucinates. It's terrible. So I don't know. Like I have a lot of thoughts on it. Just personally, I think it's an interesting topic. I think there's a lot to be discussed there. Like Alt said, if you're interested in hopping on and chatting it out with them in a space, that might be really fun social audio. But I want to leave it with a lasting thought that's been sticking in my head. I saw a quote the other day, like is AI going to replace developers, right? And the person who responded to this quote said, AI isn't going to replace developers. Developers who use AI are going to replace developers. And like, that's pretty much, as I extend this thought process out, artificial intelligence is a tool that can be leveraged. And if you are not leveraging this tool, then if you're not properly figuring out how to leverage this tool now, you're going to be behind in the future. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, one connection I'll make is just the point that he Alt had on Grok, right? And how the fact that Grok is on Twitter and plugged into these social webs versus some of these other AI models are not. They're just on information that was handpicked and hand given to them. I think that relates to LUKSO very well, right? You have all these other blockchains that are just gathering information that is mainly maybe just numbers based or is static information, versus you have LUKSO being able to interact with social data and these huge social webs. Just to close off on that thought there. But if you got any other wrapping up thoughts here?
Yeah, if you're a person who uses AI, I was in DevRel Uni yesterday listening to a talk from Coogan Brennan, who is a longtime DevRel in the space. He's actually working for Polygon now. And if you're a person who uses AI for various things, asks it questions, has conversations, it's fun to ask AI. There's something I did yesterday. Like, what can you tell me about myself that I might not know? And because it has this huge history of all these questions that I've asked it, it was interesting to see what the output was. And that might be a fun exercise for you yourself to do when this ends.
Yeah, I'll have to go check that out. But yeah, cool. So to wrap it up, thanks for everyone for listening. If you're looking for more Keys content, check out our website. It has a whole bunch of newsletters and written blog posts and integration information and all sorts of LUKSO information in a written form. If you're looking for more videos, check out our YouTube and check out our Common Ground on Tuesdays. We stream lightning talks. It has been more infrequent as of late because we're looking for guests always. So if you're interested in being a guest this Tuesday and coming and giving 5 minutes, 2% to the LUKSO community, hit me up or hit the Keys Twitter up about it, and we can look to get a show going this Tuesday. Thanks, everyone. If you enjoyed this show, don't forget to hit that like button. And if you want more content like this, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications to never miss another update. Thank you for the support.